What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, shout out to the brother Zach Hankins for once again showing love to Too Raw for TV with his donation via the Cash App. Salute to you for showing love with the $10 donation via the Cash App. So the question that he asked me is, will The View get the axe in a similar manner, a similar fashion that Joy Reid's show received earlier this week? Now, of course, we all know that Joy Reid's MSNBC program was canceled essentially for extremely low ratings. Ever since election day 2024, the ratings for the show plummeted nearly 50%. And as a consequence of that, the show was ultimately fired. Well, excuse me, she was fired. The show was ultimately terminated from the MSNBC schedule, as, of course, MSNBC is on new management. They have a new president, and they're trying to redirect their channel and their network, I guess I should say, to a different format. So this is the thing. I don't think you can compare The View to Joy Reid's program. Number one, at this point in time, if my memory serves me correctly, The View has been on television since the summer of 1997. I want to say since August of 1997. So this show's been on the air now for, 27 plus years. And it's pretty much become an institution. It was started by pioneering journalist trailblazer Barbara Walters, and it was essentially created for women to have a safe space to have discussion. You know, men, we have the barbershop, and this format was supposed to be a format geared for women to have an opportunity to debate about topics that are important to women, although there are, of course, male co-hosts on the show and male guests, and basically they debate about entertainment issues or talk about entertainment issues, debate about social and political issues, and entertain and interview guests, I should say. And it's been very successful. And that's the main reason why I don't see it getting canceled, is because, with the exception of a few years where the ratings were a little bit in peril, for the most part, The View still harbors great ratings. I think it's still in the top 50 as far as television ratings. And to be honest with you, now that we're in a Trump presidency, I can't help but think that ultimately that's going to help The View down the stretch, especially come political season, which will be 2026, and especially in 2028. Once we get closer to elections, better believe that election hot button topic and issues will come up. Our ratings are going to go up on The View, because The View is basically seen now, although you do have a couple of, I guess what you would call right of center personalities on that show. For the most part, most of the personalities Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, Sonny Hostin. They're left of center. Although you do have some individuals. I haven't watched this show in so long. I don't even know all their names anymore. But you do have some people on there who are right of center or centrist. So you do get a little bit more varying viewpoints than you did with Joy Reid show, where you know basically where Joy is coming from, and Joy can be very inflammatory. Um, with the View, you do get various viewpoints. You know what I'm saying, and that helps. But yeah, that show is an institution at this point. It's not going to get canceled. And plus, as I was alluding to earlier, now that we have a Trump administration, you almost certainly need, at least the Democrats do, or opposition to Trump administration, you need someone to be the so-called voice of the opposition or voice for the opposition. And unless their ratings completely collapse and fall apart, I don't see the View going off air anytime soon. Also, when you look at it, um, because that show was started by Barbara Walters, because it was a show that was seen as being revolutionary in giving prominent women a voice and to be taken seriously, and a voice for and a show excuse me, for women to congregate and watch and talk amongst themselves. Uh, I really have a hard time seeing any network letting that show go or canceling it unless you're just trying to reformat it. But I just can't see them canceling The View and starting over from scratch with people who weren't part of that show and think it's going to be great. I just don't see that. You know what I'm saying? Now, look, I haven't watched The View in decades. Last time I watched that show, me personally, was back when, man, what was her name? Was it Elizabeth Hasselbeck? I think her name was. Back when she used to go back and forth with the more liberal. I said liberal. The more liberal. When she go back, she with the more liberal. No, when she used to go back and forth with the more liberal uh, members of the show, I thought that made for good television. You know what I'm saying? And plus, look, from what I could gather, when you have good so-called what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say beef, but when you have adversarial reactions and adversarial conversations with different co-hosts because they have different ideologies or beliefs, it always makes for good television. And you need that more than groupthink, like what you see on MSNBC. You cannot have, for the most part, a show where everybody agrees with each other, because ultimately it starts becoming boring. Now, Trump was the great distraction for MSNBC because everybody was watching MSNBC hated him. That watched that show, but once that didn't become part of the equation anymore, they stopped watching. And there's also with Democrats, there's just too many things that just divide Democrats that keep them from joining with each other. But that's just my take on it, man. I don't think that show is ever really going to be taken off the air. I don't see it. It's still too popular. It's not as popular as it once was, but it's still very popular. A lot of people still watch that show, And especially now that we're in the Trump administration, there's way too much material for them to talk about on a daily basis. So, I don't know. That's just my take on it, at least, y'all. You know, that's just my take. So, what you guys think?